It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. It is Nielson, Gage, Cass, and Tom Huge Wiener Gazzola with you here on a Monday. I guess I was going to say Monday afternoon episode. If you're watching on the live stream, feel free to comment, chime in on anything we're talking about. And of course, subscribe to the podcast. Just search Two Guys and a Goalie on all your podcasting platforms. It's brought to you by our friends at Coolbet Canada. Sign up for an account at coolbet.com. Use the code 2Guys with the number 2. You get a 100% deposit bonus. Lots of hockey to get to. But Cass, you look like you got your full ripped beard going today. I'm surprised you didn't have the hat ready to go as well. Finally caught up on Yellowstone, my man.
Oh my goodness. You guys, I told you this before, but just so everyone knows, like season 1 and 2 were really stressful watching. Season 3, I was pretty chilled and laid back until that last episode. Like I think I made my wife pause it every 5 seconds to be like, I can't. Like I need to process what's going on right now. And then so just pouring buckets of sweat, and then it finished. And I mean, cliffhanger. Talk about cliffhanger. It just stressed me out. Like I'm excited, but now I have so long to wait. I'm actually thankful it took me so long to watch this, because now I have like a shorter wait to see what happens, because I can't imagine waiting for months. Like I know they're fictional characters. Like it's not real. It's not a real show. It has no actual real impact or bearing on my life. But it just stresses me out. So yeah, but in a good way. Like I don't know why I like it so much, but it's man, I can't deal with it.
Gager, we've all been through this, haven't we? We've all been through this.
I think we'd even mentioned how we envied Matt, because we timed it out where at the rate he was going to roll right into the next season, which he almost did. So congratulations with that, Cass. I can't. When I got something, I gotta go all in and waste the rest of the night watching it. I think my wife and we did that in like 3 days or something like that. Although our kids are a little bit older, so it wasn't complete parental neglect. So good for you. You're a better father than I am, Cass. Kids would be if my kids were your age, they'd just be whining and hungry somewhere.
Just pissing and shitting all over the house, and Gage wouldn't even care because he's midway through season 2 of Yellowstone. Tommy, now it's weird because when we always nerd out on Marvel stuff, Hernan has no idea what's going on with the Marvel stuff, but he is into Yellowstone. He's not here today. You're with us. You don't watch Yellowstone, do you?
No, not yet. I haven't checked it out yet, and I'm just nodding and smiling and laughing politely as I listen to you guys discuss this program that you clearly all watch. And I'm proud of you guys, and it's neat and cute that it brings you together like this.
You just sit there and look handsome, Tommy. That's your role here. That's your role. That's usually what Hernan does. Now you can do it as well. That's right. He's a handsome guy. All right, guys. Before we get into it, we got to talk about it. And we'll have keep it or clip it a little bit later on. The Oilers have an opportunity to clinch a playoff spot tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. They're also very comfortably in second because of the recent struggles of the Jets, and we'll get to that with Tommy here in just a little bit. But Gage, let's start with you, man. And this isn't even we got to talk about it. I just want your thoughts on the Oilers season so far. Like better than expected, and what we expected, because I think most of us had them projected somewhere in that 2 to 4 sort of range, and that's where they are. But has it gone better than you expected this year, or just kind of on par with what you thought you might see?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think of what I said at the beginning of the year. I think I'm way off on most of the teams. I think we all had kind of Toronto up there, but I think it's different because there's so many unexpected things. Like I don't think anyone expected Mike Smith to play as well as he did. There was a lot of questions on defense and Darnell Nurse has really gone to another level with his play. Adam Larson, he looks more like the player that first year when he came over after the trade. There's a lot of really nice surprises. Barry panning out and having an incredible season and a bounce back season from what he had in Toronto. I just think it's an enjoyable season, and plus you just have those two guys and Connor with the race to 100 here and Leon doing what Leon does. A few sophomore slumps, but I think we kind of did mention that a little bit with Yamo and Ethan Bear, maybe taking a step back, which what sometimes happens in sophomore seasons. But overall, Dusty, I think it's been a very enjoyable Northern Division watching this team play against Canadian teams throughout the whole year.
Tommy?
Yeah, I think going into the year, I thought Calgary, honestly, guys, would have been a lot better. And that's kind of been the disappointing part for me, is not seeing the Oilers and the Flames really go at it or even have a chance to play each other in the playoffs. But when it comes to the Oilers, Mike Smith, to me, is the huge story. I mean, no denying what Connor McDavid is in the midst of doing. It's absolutely amazing. And listen, guys, if he rattles off a crazy week in these 4 games against Vancouver, we might be talking about the century mark by Saturday. Like, it's entirely possible considering what's going on with the Canucks. But I think Mike Smith, to me, has been like the huge story, and he's been a boon to this team. And I thought it was fitting on Saturday night after the win when DVD asked him about, was it extra special or nicer to put an end to the Flames, basically? And he just smiled and looked and said, "Yup." Smith he earned that, deserved that, and he's obviously enjoying the moment. And to me, that's pretty good to see. And I enjoy listening to him and watching him perform this season. And on those post games, he just doesn't care because he knows he's 39. He's in the twilight of his career, and he's playing excellent hockey. So he's just having fun with it.
Cass, what do you think, bud?
Well, a couple things. I am going to agree. I think I had Calgary finishing first in the division before the season started.
Stupid son of a bitch.
But everything else I was close on. And I think I had Winnipeg missing the playoffs. Like, I had Calgary finishing first and Winnipeg missing the playoffs. So been interesting just to see Winnipeg slide. Makes me feel a little bit better about being so wrong on Calgary. Be like, okay, like, there's a slide from Winnipeg. That's some of what I expected to see particularly from their defense during the season or before the season started. And their offense just overpowered, and then they got some good goaltending early, and that made them a more dangerous team. I'm going to disagree though with Gage on one half. Ethan Bear certainly had that sophomore struggle. I still don't think Yamamoto has. I know he hasn't put up the points like people like and like people expect or people want. I got a little bit heated on the post-game show with Tommy the other day about a texter, texting in, like, saying how he needs to have like 20 more points and this and that. And I got mad because I'm just like, listen, you have McDavid and you have Draisaitl. They're putting up a crazy amount of points. And from a 5-on-5 standpoint, like, Yamamoto doesn't play on the power play, doesn't play on the PK. He plays a lot of 5-on-5 minutes, and he plays a lot of really smart 5-on-5 minutes. So he's not scoring goals. Does he need to be better? Sure. Is it a sophomore slump? No, I don't think it is at all, because I think positionally he's still where he needs to be. He's still engaged physically, still going to the front of the net, still playing smart defensively, and doesn't make bad turnover mistakes typically. Like, he doesn't turn the puck over at the blue line. How often have we seen that? How many pizzas have we seen Yamamoto throw into the middle of the ice that have got turned over? How many times have we seen him completely lose a man in coverage? We haven't. Like, he's been really consistent in a lot of small things in his game, aside from being able to finish and put the puck in the net, which overall as a team hasn't been the issue this year. Putting pucks in the net has not been this team's issue, and it will not be this team's issue. So I disagree on that. But overall, the Mike Smith is great. What a wonderful surprise. Toronto's pretty good. We expected them to be. Calgary is a lot worse than we thought. Vancouver struggles, Ottawa struggled, but pushed a little bit. So we, normal with that. And so the Calgary thing I think is a big surprise, and for Edmonton, Mike Smith. But yeah, have to disagree on the Yamamoto thing. I just had to get my little barb in there on that.
Well, let's talk about the Yamamoto thing, because whatever. Yaremchuk and I were kind of getting into it, because I went up to him. I said, like, the Yamo we're seeing this year, like, is this who Yamamoto is, or is it somewhere between what we saw last year and what we're seeing this year? Like, is he a second line winger, or if they're a really good team, is he a third line winger? I don't think he's a first line guy, but Tommy, Cass, whoever, like, are we seeing what Yamamoto is yet, or is there? It's not like he's getting bigger. I mean, he's pretty fast already. I'm just trying to, I guess, assess, is this who he is, or was last year who he is, or is there something else that we're going to see? Who wants to take this one?
Well, I'll just say this.
Tom, go, and then I got a question for Dusty.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say this about Yamamoto, and Cass, he paints a pretty good picture of it, and he was fired up on the post-game show Saturday because we saw a lot of people sending heat Yamamoto's way, but he seems to be at the right place at the right time. He battles hard. He does all those things. And I know he's only got 1 point in his last 19 games, something really, really bad like that. But he's in the right place at the right time. He goes to the dirty areas, and he's getting chances. And we always hear the cliche like, well, if I'm not getting chances, that's when I start to worry. But I'm getting those chances. It's just a matter of them going in. We've heard that over the years from so many players. And I think at some point he's going to score a really ugly goal, or one goes in off his butt, and he's going to be just fine. It's interesting because they're all 5-on-5 minutes for him essentially, and no special teams time really. I can't remember when he was on the PK, if he's even still out there on the PK. And to me, he's not hurting the team. Like, I think he'll just snap out of this funk offensively and he'll be just fine. But there's people that are nitpickers and they want to break down every little thing when it comes to this team, and they need everything going at 100% all the time. Otherwise, the sky's falling for them. And I think we're hearing some of those people loud and clear about Yamamoto right now.
Yeah, Dusty, I was going to almost ask you to answer that question. Like, what do you see? Do you see him, or actually just even this, like, what do you see him as a player this season? Like, where does he fit?
Well, I think he fits as a second-line right winger on this team, which is kind of where he's been this year. Like, I think Tommy made an interesting point laying it out, saying that he's not hurting the team. Like, and that's a positive. Like, sometimes when a player will go into, it's 1 goal in those last 19 games, I think, Tommy, right? Like, when somebody does that, if they're not capable of playing in other areas of the game, they'll hurt you. They'll come out of the lineup. And Tippett hasn't done that with him because Yamamoto's pretty responsible in a lot of other areas of the game. I think. And this is good news if he's, where was he drafted? 22 or 21 overall. I mean, if he turns into your long-term second line right wing, then I think that's great. Now, with that being said, your long-term second line right winger has to score more than 1 goal every 20 games, which he will. So that's why I'm still trying to figure out, like, I don't think there's first line upside for him. I'm just wondering if he is a legit second line winger as this team continues to get better, or is he like a super skilled version of Josh Archibald type of thing?
So how many goals do you guys expect, the Edmonton Oilers to score in a given season? Like, goals per game? Give it to me. Tell me what that expected goals per game is.
Wait, are we talking expected, like analytic expected?
Cool bet and I'd be done. But
if they could score like 3.14 goals per game, how's that sound? Is that okay?
All right. So now on the power play, what's the Oilers power play clip at?
26, 27 type of thing.
All right. So let's say it stays there for the next couple of years. Let's say they call the penalties that they're supposed to be calling. How many goals a game is that on the power play?
If they're calling the penalties they're supposed to be calling, then that's like 8 power play goals a game, isn't it?
Where are you going with this, Cass? What's the roundabout here?
The roundabout is this, guys. How many minutes are there in a hockey game that doesn't end in overtime?
60.
Is that about to change?
No, that'll stay the same.
So are we expecting then, Connor McDavid to basically go at 2 points a game, Draisaitl to be at like 1.5 to 1.7, whatever he ends up being at a game. Both those guys score goals. Are we expecting all of a sudden Kyler Yamamoto to chip in at another 1.5 goals a game for a guy in terms of offense created? Like, there's X amount of minutes in a game, X amount of production on the power play. Like, unless all of a sudden we're saying, well, the Oilers are going to score like a 4.5 goals per game pace, like where are all these extra, we need Yamamoto to score 20 goals? Like, where's that coming from? You don't need him to score 20 goals. You have McDavid and Draisaitl. You need him to play solid on the wing, not make big mistakes, contribute occasionally. But all the hype on him, like, he's not producing enough offense, I think is a hunk of baloney, because there's only so much offense you can produce as a team. And McDavid and Draisaitl right now are absolutely hammering on the lion's share. Those are the guys that drive it. You don't need him to score a lot. You don't even need to, like, Is he going to get assists? Absolutely. Do you want him to finish a little bit better? Sure. Yes. Does he need to finish better? Yes. But just to place these massive expectations on this needs to be his offensive output, like, to me, it's a stunted thought, because you have X amount of minutes per game, which is 60, maybe a few more. He doesn't play on the power play, so he's not getting power play points. And McDavid and Draisaitl are the ones getting a majority of the points and scoring a majority of the goals. It will continue to be so you don't need him to score that much. You just don't. It's a whole depth argument for Edmonton. Like, we just need more depth scoring. We need more depth. No, you don't. You don't need more depth scoring. You have McDavid and Draisaitl. They do a majority of your 5-on-5 and your power play scoring. That's where you get your points from. You need the rest of the guys to play solid, steady, patient, and smart hockey. That's exactly what Yamamoto gives, and that's exactly why he continues to get minutes and Tippett puts him out there. So I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy that he needs to score more. Again, yeah, a little bit better on the finish, but you don't need him to score 20. You just don't.
Kaz, what do you think of Yamamoto's numbers so far this year? Just kidding. No, but so I guess what I was trying to get to was he's more of what we see this year than what we saw last year. Or would you be, or is it a little bit in between, closer one or the other?
I think it's in between. You know, because he's playing the same way. He's putting himself in the same position. He's just hasn't been able to finish as much this year. And, you know, he was, you know, they got rid of the magic line for whatever reason when they were really clicking and had all kinds of momentum. So yeah. And even that, like, to say, like, oh, the difference between last year and this year is, like, I don't see a drop off in terms of quality of play. Like, you know, finishing chances, sure, there's been a drop that we'd like to see improve, but overall quality of play, I just don't see a reduction. So I don't know.
Oh, it's a good conversation. We'll definitely get a few clips out of there. That was good. That was a good conversation on Yamo. And we'll see where it all goes. If I'm still okay, I'm still here. We'll see where it goes with the top six.
I thought you cut me for a second and was like, I don't like his ideas. I'm just going to get rid of him.
I thought about it. But if I didn't cut you on 5 minutes of Yamamoto propaganda, I'm not cutting you now, Cass. I'm not cutting you now. Okay, let's get into we got to talk about it, because it kind of ties into what we're going to do here, like the Yamo top six sort of thing anyway. We got to talk about it. It's brought to you by our partners at Break Kings. Find them on Facebook, Break Kings with a Z, card breaking group. I did a break last night, pulled a Connor McDavid autograph card, and the whole group just started typing OMG over and over in the comments section. And I was just like, my hands were shaking. It was a nice card, boys. It was a nice card.
Do you get to keep those?
Tommy, you don't know how these work at all, do you? You have no idea.
No, I don't.
No, I'm opening them for other people who have paid to have the teams from that break. So somebody paid like $250 to get the Oilers cards last night and hit a autographed Connor McDavid card worth like almost $1,000. So he was happy last night. Yeah. Then other people paid for teams and didn't hit shit. So that's the tough part. So it's hit and miss, but it's fun. But yeah, the McDavid one, I ran upstairs to my wife. She was stretching to go for a run, and I come running upstairs, and she goes, I heard the bell, because when I get a big one, I'll hit a little bell. So I come upstairs and I pull it out from behind my back. I'm like, bam! What do you think of this? And she's like, is that good? I'm like, yes, it's good. It's a Connor McDavid auto card. Come on, are you nuts?
And you probably folded it in half by accident.
No, these ones actually come in a case already. The ones that we opened last night, you open up the box, it's already in a case. So not even I can ruin those. So it's nice. So join the group, Break Kings. You'll see the two guys logo plastered all over our stuff there. All right, I'm going to start with, we got to talk about it. I got this one. McLeod, Jesse Puljujärvi, Ryan Nugent Hopkins. I liked what I saw. I know they didn't bury anything, but I thought they had some chances. For McLeod to be so early into his National Hockey League career and centering Puljujärvi and Nugent Hopkins could be a lot of responsibility there, but I thought he handled it okay. We're going to see more of it. I just kind of want to know your guys' thoughts on if that's a line that might give them the opportunity to keep McDavid and Draisaitl together. Gager, what do you think?
Yeah, I liked it too. It was kind of getting a nice card in Break Kings, Dusty. It was something different to look at. I do like McLeod. I think he's doing really quite well for his first few games. He again with the hockey IQ. He seems like he's in good positions all the time, and he's very, very good skater. So I like that line just causing a little bit more havoc on other teams. It was a fun game to watch against Calgary. I won't lie about that. That was a good one. But yeah, I did enjoy that line. I want to see him tomorrow night against the Canucks. See what happens.
Boys, I want to say this about that line. I feel like it's just an experiment. Like, I think he's just trying to test out what McLeod's capabilities are. And even though, like Gage said, there was some pretty good moments, especially with him carrying the puck a lot more, which is great and shows a lot of confidence. He only has one shot in 4 games. Like, I want to see him attack the net front, try to get a shot, see if he can get some offense going. I think that that's probably the next step for him in his game at the NHL level. But to me, that line combination it kind of felt like Tippett trying to see if he could use that combo at some point down the road, maybe in the postseason, if he needs to stack up McDavid and Draisaitl. So I feel like we're still in a bit of an experimentation phase that Dave Tippett's trying out. Maybe he has a couple more games to do it, because I think probably the last 4 or 5 games he wants to have something that resembles his playoff lines. That's my assumption, but it just feels like an experiment at this point, which is fine, and it seems to be going just fine too.
You're absolutely right. It absolutely is. It's an experiment to see, if I have to go to this, what are my options? He's looked at a couple other ones. This is just another try. And they looked okay. Yep, they'd like to get more shots, get to a little bit more offense. But as I said before, with the Yamamoto thing, you're stacking up a line to create your offense. You just need everyone else to be okay. That's the mindset. Just be consistent, be okay. Don't make big mistakes. Be even or better. That's and he's just testing it out.
Do you think, because he's played Puljujärvi up there with the other 2 guys too, when they get to the playoffs and they got to load up a line, do you think it's going to be JP or Yamamoto on that line? And is it because of what they might bring to the other line if they got to load it up? Or how does that sort itself out? What do you guys think?
Oof. I don't know. I in the playoffs it's different, because you always have someone that you probably didn't think was going to have a really good playoffs, and all of a sudden they emerge as something great, and they just have an unreal playoff. So I'm trying to find the kind of unsung hero who I think the Oilers could be. I think it could be Yamamoto, really. Like, after a lot of times when Cass will say this, the coach will come in at the start of playoffs and always say that, okay, we're all at zeros again. The regular season doesn't mean anything anymore. That might motivate Yamamoto. Like, I'm sure he's not completely thrilled about his offensive contributions of late. So kind of a reset on that side of him. And I don't know, you're going to have the big 2 going crazy. And if they do get shut down by a certain team, that's when you need those unsung heroes to pop up. And maybe McLeod, maybe Jesse can pull this off.
Guys, I like the idea of Puljujärvi with McDavid and Nugent Hopkins the most.
Okay.
I'm really liking what Jesse's starting to bring to the table this year. And more, like, I like the mentality he's taken, where he's banging and crashing, and he wants the puck, and he's lugging it through, and he's attacking with speed. So I'm more partial to Puljujärvi, especially if you're going to stack up lines and you really need to get that offense going. And if you need to go McDavid Draisaitl, I like Puljujärvi on that line too. And then you just kind of have a mishmash second line. At least that's kind of my thought process going into this postseason right now. Is just Puljujärvi seems to be surging and does all the right things for a playoff style series. Not to take away from what Yamamoto's doing, but I'm liking Puljujärvi more so.
I think you're fine with either one of those guys. To me, it's who's maybe going a little bit more, who's been playing better leading into it. Like, I don't think it's a wrong choice on either, because you've got some consistency in terms of play style right now from Puljujärvi, and I don't need to go on another rant about Yamamoto, so we'll just leave it at that. But I think
save it for tonight.
Yeah, you're fine with both of those guys. You're fine with either of them.
All right, let's continue with the Oilers conversation here. So let's go Gagr. Gagr, what do we got to talk about, buddy?
Well, I was talking to my neighbor the other day, and we were talking about McDavid getting to this 100-point plateau. And when does the conversation with him and Tippett happen? Where do the Oilers get into a place where, there's a few games left? Look, Connor, we're going to rest you tonight. We don't need you getting hurt or something. We just want you to be fresh. But he's at like 97 points or something. Is there a point when Tippett puts the look, you got until this game to get to 100. Other than that, we're going to take you out at that point and get ready for playoffs here. I just wondered if do you think a conversations like that does happen, and if he's close, does Tippett let him go for it and play him tons going in the last few games and take the risk of something maybe happening, or just like we've seen what happens with those guys when they do get some time off and some rest, how much better the Oilers are after a few days. It's unbelievable. So that's got to be a really tough situation for Tippett, because he wants Connor to do this 100-point thing, but I think the bigger picture is having a good playoffs and going as far as you possibly can.
I think he's going to get this 100 by Saturday. I think it's going to happen by Saturday, you guys. I'm serious. Like, I was kind of, when I woke up, I'm like, boy, big week, lots of Vancouver this week. And then you see the Canucks are struggling. They've lost, 4 in a row. They've hit that wall after having that burst of adrenaline when they came back from a tough COVID situation. I just feel like Vancouver is ripe for the picking, and he's just going to go absolutely wild this week and get these last 13 points and then kind of put it into cruise control next week to close out the season. I have a good feeling about this, and he's done some amazing things, and I think we're going to be talking about McDavid 100 by Saturday for sure.
That's aggressive, Tommy.
I know, but like I
so
have
what's that,
this
13-5, Tommy? Is that 13-5?
Yeah.
That's not that crazy for him. I mean, it's nuts, but it's like I did say
scenario.
I don't know where I said it. Might have been on the show or something. I do think he gets it with a game or two to spare. So maybe I'm with you, I guess, here, Tommy. Like, because I feel like as long as it's like less than 2 points per game for him to get there, he's going to want to go get it, because he can get 1.5, 2 points per game. So, but at the same time, I mean, Gage brings up a good point, and Cass, I'd love your thoughts on it. Like, what if they've locked up second? There's literally no reason to be playing outside of getting 100 points, and he slips and crashes into the boards and he gets hurt again. Like, 100 points is cool, but you can't really risk that, can you, Cass?
All depends on the player. If the player wants to play, he's going to play. If Connor says, I'm playing, he's going to play. Like, you can counsel, but he's going to be the one calling the shots on that. He's going to be the one calling the shots.
And I cannot imagine the text line at our station if he was to get hurt in a meaningless game.
Yeah. What happens, you guys, if he only gets 99 and we all have to sit and look at the empty net that happened against Calgary? And like, do you think Archibald, do they get rid of him if he, basically, unselfishly gives Darnell Nurse the puck and causes Connor not to get 100 points?
God, I mean, that would be so. I already had people this morning. You guys must have saw it too. What's Archibald thinking? Taking that assist away from McDavid by passing over to Nurse. It's just like, this is where people are at. Like, Oilers fans want this 100 points so badly because it would be special. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation, Gager. Let's see if he can get out. Maybe he averages 3 points per game for the next 4. He's got 12. You consider the last 3 games. They could do that. Yeah,
plus 330 right now to get over 2.5. So, and that's pretty easy money.
I think he's doing it, guys. I think he's doing it this week. I think he's just going to go nuts on the Canucks. Honestly,
he could.
Yeah.
All right. Let's tie this into actually what you want to talk about, Tommy, because the Oilers are in a pretty good spot because of the struggles of somebody.
Yeah, we got to talk about the Winnipeg Jets, and it's like, the stuff we're hearing out of Winnipeg is just so disheartening. Like when you listen to Paul Maurice and his comments, you listen to the players talking about this 6-game slide, like no confidence right now at the worst possible time when they were flirting with first place in the division a couple of weeks ago, and they just go into the tank. They can't score goals, even though they have a great forward unit with some excellent offensive players. Connor's been struggling. Scheifele's been struggling. Wheeler, I know, was hurt, but he's had his struggles. I know there's no more Nick Ehlers for the rest of the regular season. I know Lowry was banged up, but like Pierre-Luc Dubois has struggled. They're talking about him trying to figure out his game and how he actually fits in with the Jets still, even though he's been there for the majority of the season. I know the goaltending's great, but man, it's just like everything is unraveling. Like the string was just been pulled on, and I'm looking at the Jets going, boy, you let two 2-goal leads slip away, or you had two 2-goal leads on Friday against Montreal, and you end up losing that game, giving away 4 unanswered. I think in a nutshell, that's basically what's going on. There's just no mojo left with this team, and they're running out of time to even find a little bit of mojo, guys. Like, I don't know how quickly you could reignite your team with 6 games remaining, and you're staring down the first round of the postseason going, we don't even feel like ourselves right now.
What if they're pump faking everybody?
I don't believe it.
Let's lose a whole bunch. We know we're going to play Edmonton anyways. Let's lose a whole bunch, and then let's get overconfident, and then psych.
They might not play Edmonton now. Like, they're only 2 points up.
Yeah, I looked at the schedules today. Montreal's schedule is a little bit more difficult than Winnipeg's, but you're right, Tommy. They're only 2 points up. If they continue to slide, the Habs could certainly catch them, especially because I think Montreal gets Toronto a few times still. Winnipeg might as well, but Toronto's going to have it on cruise control and be resting guys, so we'll see how that plays out. But I don't know. Like, Ray Ferraro today on the show said that he doesn't think they're an easy out in the playoffs, which I would agree with. Like, I don't think they'll be an easy out. They don't have Nick Ehlers right now. They haven't had Adam Lowry for a little bit. But, I mean, you got to turn it around before you get to the playoffs. You can't all of a sudden just bring these guys back in the postseason and think that everything's going to be peachy keen, if you want to call it that. So, if the Oilers already had success against them, you go into a playoff series against Winnipeg when they've won, let's say they turn it around a bit and they've won 3 of their last 12. That's not a great look heading into the postseason, Gager. And is confidence not one of the most important things once you get to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about, do they even want to? Who would Montreal rather play? Would they rather play the Oilers or would they rather play the Leafs? I think
they'd want Edmonton. They play Edmonton so well.
Yeah, I think they're going to be trying like crazy, and I was so worried when they went and got Dubois. I thought, oh my gosh, like down the middle, this team is just stacked. But after the last few games, I haven't really worried about the Winnipeg Jets at all, even to the point where Hellebuck has looked pretty mortal in net with his play. So I don't know. It's tough because it seems like it's just snowballing with those guys, but there is some guys with some experience and stuff, but like you said, it's so tough to just turn on that switch, Dusty. You have to hit the ground running with playoffs. You don't want to be going into the playoffs ass first like this, because before you know it, you can be down 3 and you're going home.
All right, let's continue with We Got to Talk About It. Cass, wrap it up for us, and then we'll get to keep it or clip it, buddy.
All right. So I have been, I don't know the right word for this, but Jagr is going to play another season. He's turning 50. Like we talk about Patty Marleau and like playing, the NHL all-time games record. Like I haven't totaled, but Jagr is still playing and he's turning 50. to me, it's just mind blowing. Like this guy loves, not only does he love hockey as much as he does, but he still has a desire at 50 years old, almost 50 years old. You know, he owns the team, and he's basically like Reggie Dunlop, except an owner too. He's like owner, player, coach, and just basically like, I'm just going to keep playing.
He's Jackie Moon.
And there you go. Yeah, that's a better one.
Yeah.
He's like, except he can actually play. You know, it's just like, how long does he go? How many years does Jaromir Jagr have left playing? Like, to me, this is just utter insanity that this guy's still able to do this, and his body is still holding up enough to try to keep up with a bunch of 20-year-olds. Like, you think if there's like a 20-year-old or 19-year-old on the team, like he's like 3 times the age almost of some of these guys. Like, when does he stop? Like, is it 51? Is it 52? Like, does he go to 55 here? It's just ridiculous. I'm in a state of disbelief that Jaromir Jagr is still playing and still going one more season. I can't believe it. Just wanted to hear what you guys thought.
Oh,
I love it. He seems like he'd be a lot of fun in the dressing room. I think at this point in his career, if I could, I'd still love to be playing. But geez, it's amazing how his body's held up. Like he is a beast of a man. But oh my gosh! And you know, Czech League. We did play some exhibition games there. It's a fun place to play. Like I can see what he wants to play. He's the Wayne Gretzky of the Czech Republic. So everywhere he goes, it's probably just a huge thing too. So good for him. Keep playing till they say no. I guess the one way is just to own the team. I never had enough money to buy my own team, or else I'd probably still be playing.
He's playing Div 2 this year. Like Div 2 in the Czech. And then what he had, like 12 points in 19 games or something. All I can think of is the Jackie Moon reference, and I just want to say, corn dogs, Jaromir. Corn dogs for everybody. That's the type of promo that they're doing there. It's crazy. I mean, if he owns the team and he's playing Div 2 in Europe, he probably played till he's 55, for goodness sakes.
You know what's crazy about him and that Kladno team is I think the logo is now designed after his face. It's just like this bearded guy that looks old and scruffy, and that's what Jagr looks like now. And on top of that, like I remember getting his rookie card and trading for it in kindergarten. Like the upper deck one where he had the floofy hair, or was it a scorecard? I remember that, and we called him Jeremy Jagr because first of all, we were 5 and 6 years old, so I didn't know better. I didn't know what a Czechoslovakian or a Czech Republic or a Slovakia was at that point. And I just remember this young player for the Penguins that was supposed to be like Mario Lemieux, and we called him Jeremy Jagr. And that was the time when Jeremy Roenick was kind of becoming bigger and more prominent around the NHL. And I remember seeing him play the Oilers. It was before you got there, Gage. It was like 93. I begged my dad to get me tickets to the Oilers Penguins game. And Jagr, went to school the next day. I'm like, man, Jagr had such a good game, and he's such a puck hog, but he's so good. But all I could tell my friends was he is a puck hog, but he's so good. And they blasted the Oilers that night at the old Coliseum with the red seats still.
Oh, that's great.
I grabbed that logo that Tommy brought up. Here it is. That does look a little bit like Jagr, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does look a little bit like him with that beard, Tommy. You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. If you're listening on the podcast later on, just Google Kladno logo, you'll find it. But if you're watching on the live stream, it does kind of look a little bit like Jaromir Jagr. All right, let's see here. All right, let's get to Keep It or Clip It. We got to talk about it, brought to you by Break Kings. Find them on Facebook, Break Kings with a Z. Keep It or Clip It. I've got a few Oilers questions here for you. Let's start with this one. He's having a hell of a season. The Oilers should re-sign Mike Smith this offseason. Keep it or clip it?
I'm just going to say keep it. He's earned it. One more one-year deal with bonuses. And if he finally fizzles out next year, then you go, well, who's next? Keep it.
Yeah, ride that pony till she bucks you, I guess. What's he going to cost? That's one thing, though. Is he going to... What is he, 2.5 right now?
Something like that, with all of his incentives.
And he's hitting a lot of those, yeah.
Yeah,
he's played.
So I mean, there are some goalies that are going to become available this offseason. So I don't know. Does maybe Mike Smith test the waters? I don't know. I mean, if I'm another GM and I'm in a situation where, geez, I can get this old guy and look what he did in case something else happens. So I don't know. I think I'd resign him. I'd try it as long as the number works out.
Hey, really quickly before Cass chimes in on this, remember when the Oilers walked away from Dwayne Rollison to sign Nikolai Habibulin? And Habibulin was not good that 4 years that he was an Oilers goalie. And Rolly went and played like 4 or 5 more seasons into his 40s respectably well, like better than Habibulin. And I keep thinking about that instance, and it's like, maybe you want to keep him if he's going to play this well this time around. That'd be crazy though, Gagr, if he did test the market. Hottest goalie on the market, 39 years old. They thought they brought him back on a flyer just because no one else was out there.
He should win the Vezina. So I mean, how does he not?
Buffalo Sabres, 4 years, $5 million per.
Yeah, I mean, he's.
I didn't know Pete Chiarelli was the GM of Buffalo.
Oh man,
I don't. How does a guy that wins the Vezina at 40 and then not get like sought after in free agency the next year? It's impossible. Someone's going to do it.
Yeah, I guess you got to keep it. Like it scares me badly because it's like at some point there's going to be.
You're talking about one of the best goalies in the league.
I know, which is what you have to. But it's just like, but for how long? But for how long and at what cost? So I think you got to do it. It still shouldn't be that expensive, and it's just got to be 1 year. Like just a 1 year. Just make it a 1 year. If the second anything more than that comes into play, you gotta walk at it. But 1 year, bring him in.
It allows Koskinen to remain as a backup where he plays relatively well. So you've got that going for you. Question number 2, guys. Philip Broberg will be an NHL regular by this time next year. Keep it or clip it?
Clip it. Not a chance.
Clip it. He'll be down in Bakersfield.
For the full year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cass, predict an injury here for somebody and say he's been called up.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it. I think he does. I think he's spent some time in the minors now. He's had some of that development time, and it's his time to seize a lineup spot.
Question number 3. If on your third shot of a golf season, the ball gets stuck up in a tree and doesn't come down, is it time to rest for a month before golfing again? Keep it or clip it?
Clip
That
it.
really happened.
Clip it. Oh my God. I can't believe you did that yesterday.
Third
Just
shot
get
of the
back.
year.
I know. Just get back out there next weekend. You're going to be just fine. Come on now.
So livid. So livid. Good range session. Shot off of a cart path up into a tree, doesn't come down. Cash, should I quit?
Yeah. Oh, most definitely you should. Keep it. Absolutely. Quit.
Gage, it's up to you, buddy. Deciding vote.
No, you get back on that horse, Dusty.
Good.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
I want a driving range where there are trees and there are cart paths and there's sand so that it can get that mental aspect of golf actually on the range so I can avoid a bunker and not just hit it wherever I want. God. Golf, man.
You just need a Top Golf here, man. I don't know, have you guys ever done a Top Golf?
Yes,
Top Golf
so
is
much
fun. Yes. Went to the one in Vegas at MGM.
Yeah.
It was awesome. That was good. All right, final question. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is officially a winger moving forward. Keep it or clip it? Cass hung up.
Yes.
Yep.
He's
out.
He's angry.
He's done. That was perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Yeah, he's no, I'm gonna clip it because he can go back if needed be.
I'll clip it too. He's a hybrid now. He's officially a hybrid, not officially a winger, officially a hybrid.
I got cut off there, but I'm going to keep it. He's a winger that can play center if you need him to.
Ooh. All right, there it is. The truth. So does he sign a contract as a winger? Because a winger is going to make less money than a center this offseason. It's probably what's going to happen. And maybe he'll just have to settle for it at this point. We'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, boys. Prediction for tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. Gage, let's start with you, man.
What did I go? I went 5-3 Edmonton, empty netter.
Oh, Connor's definitely going to have 3 points then.
Yeah.
Tommy.
6-2 Edmonton, and this is going to start the beginning of a really bad week for Vancouver.
8-1 Edmonton. Connor has 5 points.
Jeez. I am betting the over tonight. My goodness. All right, let's see how this plays out. Boys, solid episode. Tommy, thanks for sliding in for Hernan Salas again. And I'll talk to you on the oil stream. You guys tonight will be, what time does the pregame show get going?
6 p.m., 2-hour special today and tomorrow. So
Holy
buckle up,
smokes.
baby. Yep. God love those Pacific Division start times.
All right. Well, you and Cass have fun with that. Gage, I'll chat with you at 9 o'clock tomorrow on my show, buddy.
Sounds good, Dusty. See you guys then.
Once again, thank you very much to our presenting sponsor, CoolBet. Sign up for an account. Use the bonus code 2GUYS with the number 2. You get a 100% deposit bonus. Stay cool. Bet responsibly. That is episode 139, Yamo propaganda. That's going to be the one. This one. We'll see how it plays out. See you later, boys.